We must move quickly. I agree. Let's go. For the cause!
It's activating. Get ready. Fire on my mark.
This place is unlike anything I've seen.
Aye, but danger lurks in its shadows.
Then we face it together.
The helicopter descended through thick clouds, revealing jagged peaks that pierced the sky like broken teeth. Emma Reeves checked her equipment one final time, her fingers moving with practiced efficiency over every buckle, every weapon, every tool of her trade. 15 years as a mercenary had taught her that preparation separated the living from the dead. Colonel Briggs sat across from her, his weathered face illuminated by the red cabin lights. He hadn't stopped studying her since they departed from the forward base 3 hours ago. Emma was used to the scrutiny. Female mercenaries were rare enough. Female mercenaries with her success rate were practically mythical. "You've been here before," Briggs said. It wasn't a question. Emma shook her head. "Close. 3 valleys west. 2 years ago. Different contract, different objective. But you know the terrain. I know enough." Emma pulled out a worn map, spreading it across her knees. The Karvik Mountains have been restricted territory for decades. Official records say it's due to unstable geology. Locals tell different stories. Sergeant Foster leaned forward from his position near the door. He was young, maybe 25, with eager eyes that hadn't seen enough horror yet. "What kind of stories?" Emma traced a finger along the mountain range, stopping at a blank space where no peaks were marked. "They say there's a fortress built into the mountains themselves. The Obsidian Fortress, supposedly constructed by an ancient civilization that understood warfare in ways we've forgotten." Calloway, the demolitions expert, laughed roughly. "Fairy tales to scare children." "Maybe," Emma replied. "But fairy tales don't usually come with million-dollar contracts." The helicopter banked sharply, and through the window, Emma caught her first glimpse of their destination. The mountain rose like a sleeping giant, its surface unusually smooth and dark. Not natural rock formation. Something else. Something engineered. "Jesus," Torres muttered, pressing his face against the window. The medic had been quiet the entire flight, but now his voice carried a tremor Emma recognized. Fear dressed up as awe. "Landing zone in 2 minutes," the pilot announced through their headsets. "Weather's turning. We drop you and get out. Extraction window is 48 hours from now. Same coordinates. Miss it, and you're walking home." Briggs stood, gripping the overhead rail as the helicopter lurched through turbulent air. "Listen up. Our objective is simple. We locate the fortress entrance, assess what's inside, and secure any technology or weapons for transport. Reeves here is our specialist. She knows infiltration. You follow her lead once we're inside." Emma said nothing. She'd heard similar briefings 100 times. The objective was never as simple as they claimed. There were always complications. Always secrets. Always blood. The helicopter touched down on a narrow plateau, rotors screaming against the mountain wind. The team moved quickly, grabbing gear and jumping onto solid ground. Within 30 seconds, the helicopter was climbing back into the clouds, leaving them in sudden, oppressive silence. Emma surveyed their surroundings. The plateau was larger than it appeared from the air, roughly circular, with the smooth black mountain face rising vertically on 3 sides. No vegetation. No animal tracks. Nothing but stone and silence. "Spread out," Briggs ordered. "Standard search pattern. Look for any entrance, any marking, anything that doesn't belong." The team moved with military precision, but Emma held back, studying the mountain itself. The surface was too perfect. She approached the nearest wall, running her gloved hand across the stone. Cold, unnaturally smooth. And something else. A faint vibration, almost imperceptible, like a distant heartbeat. "Colonel," Foster called from the eastern edge. "You need to see this." Emma jogged over, her boots silent on the stone. Foster stood before a section of the mountain face where the surface changed. Symbols, hundreds of them, carved deep into the rock. Not weathered by time, but preserved, protected somehow. Calloway whistled low. "That's not any language I've ever seen." Emma stepped closer, her pulse quickening. She had seen something similar before, in texts that weren't supposed to exist, in archives that officially denied housing them. Ancient warnings. Boundaries not meant to be crossed. "Can you read it?" Briggs asked. Emma traced one symbol, a spiral within a circle bisected by a vertical line. "Enough. It's a warning." Multiple warnings, actually. They all say the same thing in different ways, which is, turn back. The Guardian watches. Death waits for the unworthy. Emma looked at Briggs. "We should reconsider this contract." The colonel's expression hardened. "We have our orders. Besides, you don't strike me as someone who believes in ghost stories, Reeves." "I don't believe in ghosts," Emma said quietly. "I believe in people who are very good at killing." A sound echoed across the plateau, distant, rhythmic, like stone grinding against stone. The team froze, weapons rising instinctively. There, Torres pointed, a section of the mountain face was moving. Not collapsing, but opening, ancient mechanisms activating after decades or centuries of silence. A doorway appeared, tall and wide enough to drive a truck through, darkness beyond deeper than shadow. "Equipment check," Briggs commanded. "We go in prepared." Emma checked her gear again, but her attention remained fixed on that opening. Someone or something had opened it. Not automatic sensors. Not their presence alone. Someone inside knew they were here. The team formed up at the entrance, flashlights cutting through the darkness. The passage beyond was wide and descending, stairs carved from the same black stone, leading down into the mountain's heart. "Standard formation," Briggs said. "Foster, take point with Reeves. Calloway, watch our 6. Torres, stay central. I'll coordinate." We moved slow and careful. They descended into darkness. The passage walls were smooth and unmarked, offering no indication of who built this place or when. Emma's flashlight beam revealed nothing but more stairs, more darkness. The air grew colder with each step, carrying a scent she couldn't identify. Not decay. Something older. Something patient. After 10 minutes of descent, the stairs ended at a massive chamber. The team's flashlights swept across space that seemed impossible. Columns rose like frozen giants, supporting a ceiling lost in shadow above. The floor was polished to a mirror shine, reflecting their lights back at them. "This is incredible," Hammond breathed. The intelligence analyst had been silent until now, but faced with the chamber's vastness, even his professional composure cracked. Emma moved to the nearest column, examining the surface. More symbols, but these were different. Not warnings. Something else. Instructions, perhaps. Or history. A sound whispered through the chamber. Faint, almost musical. "Did you hear that?" Torres asked. Everyone stopped, listening. The sound came again, clearer this time. Footsteps, light and measured, growing closer. "Defensive positions," Briggs commanded. The team spread out, taking cover behind columns, weapons trained on the darkness ahead. Emma remained standing, her instincts screaming. This wasn't an ambush. This was an announcement. Someone wanted them to know they weren't alone. A figure emerged from the shadows at the far end of the chamber, human, female, moving with a grace that spoke of absolute confidence. "You were warned." A voice called out, clear and steady. The symbols at the entrance were written in 12 languages, covering 3,000 years of human history. "Surely one of you could read them." Emma stepped forward, keeping her hands visible but ready. We could read them. We chose to continue anyway. The figure moved closer, entering the edge of the flashlight beams. Emma got her first clear look and felt something cold settle in her chest. The woman was perhaps 30, with dark hair pulled back severely, wearing clothing that seemed to blend tactical gear with something far older. But it was her eyes that made Emma's breath catch. They held the kind of certainty that came from never having lost, never having doubted, never having failed. "I am the guardian of this place," the woman said. "My name is Jade Winters, and you have made a grave mistake coming here." Colonel Briggs stepped forward. "This is a military operation authorized under international salvage protocols. Stand aside." Jade smiled, and Emma saw no humor in it. Only certainty. Only purpose. "No," Jade said simply. "I will give you one chance. Leave now while you still can. Return to your lives. Forget this place exists. And if we don't?" Briggs challenged. Jade's smile faded. "Then I will show you why this fortress has remained untouched for 500 years. Why every army, every treasure hunter, every fool who came seeking power left only bones and screams." Emma raised her hand, stopping Briggs from responding. "How many have come before us?" 73 expeditions over the last century," Jade replied. "The last one was 7 years ago. 15 soldiers. None survived past the 3rd chamber. You killed them all. I protected what must remain protected." Jade's gaze fixed on Emma. "You're different from the others. I can see it in how you move, how you watch. You're not a soldier following orders. You chose to be here." "I'm a mercenary," Emma admitted. "I was hired to guide them inside. Then you can guide them back out." Emma glanced at Briggs, seeing the calculation in his eyes. He wasn't going to retreat. Not yet. Not without proof of what they faced. The moment stretched, tension building like a drawn bow. Then Jade moved. Not attacking. Just repositioning, sliding backward into the shadows, with movements too fast and too fluid for normal training. 48 hours. Jade's voice echoed from the darkness. "That's how long until your extraction. I suggest you use that time to leave." And then she was gone, leaving only silence and the cold certainty that everything had changed. The team held their defensive positions for 3 full minutes after Jade disappeared. Weapons trained on empty darkness, hearts hammering against ribs. Emma remained still, her mind racing through tactical assessments. The woman had moved like water, like wind, like nothing Emma had encountered in 15 years of combat across 4 continents. "Status check," Briggs finally ordered. His voice tight. One by one, the team reported in. All present. All functional. But Emma could hear the uncertainty creeping into their voices. They were trained soldiers facing an enemy that didn't fight by any rules they understood. "We continue," Briggs decided. "Hammond, get the portable scanner operational. I want to know what's in this fortress worth protecting." Hammond unpacked his equipment, hands shaking slightly as he assembled the detection array. The device hung to life, its screen casting blue light across his face. Scanning now. Looking for energy signatures, metal concentrations, anything unusual. Emma moved away from the group, studying the chamber with fresh eyes. Jade had emerged from the eastern passage. That meant she knew the fortress layout intimately. Home territory advantage. But more than that, she had appeared exactly when the team reached this chamber. Not before. Not after. She was monitoring them somehow. "Reeves," Torres called softly. The medic had moved to one of the columns, his flashlight aimed upward. "Look at this." Emma joined him, following his light beam. High on the column, barely visible in the shadows, something gleamed. Metal. She pulled out compact binoculars, focusing on the object. A camera. Ancient design, but clearly functional. She's watching us, Emma said. The entire fortress is probably wired for surveillance. That's impossible, Calloway objected, moving closer. This place has been sealed for how long? Cameras need power, maintenance, someone to monitor the feeds. She's been here, Emma replied. Maybe her entire life. Maybe generations of guardians before her. This isn't just protection. It's devotion. Briggs joined them, studying the camera. Can we disable it? We could try, Emma said. But there are probably dozens more. Maybe hundreds. The moment we take one out, she'll know exactly where we are and what we're attempting. Hammond's scanner beeped urgently. Colonel, you need to see this. The readings are off the scale. There's something below us, deep. The energy signature is unlike anything in our database. Briggs studied the screen, his expression hardening with determination. That's our objective. We find a way down. Emma wanted to argue, wanted to remind them that 73 expeditions had failed. That turning back wasn't cowardice, but wisdom. But she knew that look. Briggs was committed now. They all were. The team moved deeper into the fortress, following passages that split and rejoined in patterns that seemed designed to confuse. Emma marked their route carefully, dropping nearly invisible tracers every 50 meters. If they needed to retreat quickly, she wanted a clear path out. Bishop, the communications officer, had been attempting to maintain contact with their forward base since they entered. Now his frustrated voice crackled through the team channel. No signal. Nothing. It's like the mountain itself is blocking transmission. Faraday cage effect, Hammond suggested. If the fortress walls contain certain minerals or metals, they could create interference. Or someone's jamming us, Foster added. His youthful confidence eroding into nervousness. They entered another chamber. Smaller than the first, but still impressively large. Here, the walls weren't smooth. They were covered in murals, painted, or carved with incredible detail. Emma approached one section, her breath catching. The images told a story. An ancient civilization. Advanced technology. Weapons that looked more like art than instruments of death. And at the center of every image, figures that could only be guardians. Protectors chosen to ensure the weapons never fell into the wrong hands. It's a legacy, Emma murmured, passed down through centuries. Guardian to guardian. Jade isn't the first. She won't be the last. Fascinating history lesson, Briggs said impatiently. But we have a mission. Keep moving. The passage ahead narrowed, forcing them into single file. Emma felt the walls pressing closer, felt the weight of stone above them. This was a choke point. A perfect place for ambush. Wait, she called out. This doesn't feel right. Reyna, the teen sniper, had taken point. She was 10 meters ahead when the floor beneath her shifted. Not collapsing, but tilting, ancient mechanisms activating with terrifying precision. Reyna tumbled forward, her cry of surprise echoing through the passage. She disappeared around a corner, her flashlight beam spinning wildly. Reyna! Foster shouted, rushing forward. Emma grabbed his arm, stopping him. Don't. That's exactly what she wants. We panic, we separate, we become easy targets. Our teammate just fell into a trap, Foster snarled. And we'll get her back, Emma said firmly. But on our terms, not hers. A voice echoed through the passage. Jade's voice, amplified somehow, coming from everywhere and nowhere. Your friend is alive. Injured, but breathing. She's in the medical chamber. First door on your left when you reach the lower level. You're toying with us? Briggs called out. I'm showing you mercy, Jade replied. Something you wouldn't show me if our positions were reversed. I told you to leave. You chose to continue. Now you live with the consequences of that choice. Emma studied the passage ahead. The trap had been precise, controlled. Not designed to kill, but to separate. To demonstrate power. To prove that Jade held every advantage in this place. "We need to adapt," Emma said quietly to Briggs. "She knows this fortress better than we know our own homes. Every passage, every trap, every hiding spot. We can't outthink her here. What do you suggest?" "We acknowledge reality. She has one advantage we can't overcome. But we have something she doesn't. Which is? Numbers. Teamwork. If we stay together, stay disciplined, we can present a unified defense she can't penetrate alone." Briggs considered this, then nodded. Tight formation. No one separates for any reason. We get to Reyna, ensure she's stable, then reassess. They moved forward carefully, Emma taking point now. She could feel Jade's presence, could sense eyes watching from the darkness. The Guardian was close, testing them, evaluating their responses. The passage opened into another chamber, and there Emma saw Reyna. The sniper sat propped against a wall, her leg bent at an unnatural angle. But true to Jade's word, she was conscious and breathing. Torres rushed forward, medical kit already open. Emma covered him, sweeping the chamber for threats. "Compound fracture," Torres reported. "She needs surgery, real medical facilities. I can stabilize her, but she can't continue the mission." "Do it," Briggs ordered, then activated his radio. "Bishop, are you getting any signal at all?" "Negative, sir. We're completely cut off." Emma noticed something strange. The chamber's far wall wasn't stone. It was metal. Polished, reflective metal inscribed with more symbols. And in the center, a door, sealed, but clearly important. "Hammond, scan that door," Emma directed. The analyst moved forward, running his equipment over the metal surface. "Energy readings are concentrated here. Whatever we're looking for, it's beyond this door." Emma approached the door, studying it carefully. No visible lock. No keypad. No mechanism she could identify. But there had to be a way to open it. Jade clearly came and went. There must be a method. Movement flickered in her peripheral vision. Emma spun, weapon rising, and found herself face to face with Jade Winters. The Guardian stood 5 meters away, perfectly still. Hands empty, but positioned in a way that suggested she could draw weapons faster than Emma could pull a trigger. "You're persistent," Jade said. "I respect that. But respect doesn't change my duty. We're not here to steal," Emma tried. "We're here to assess, to understand what's being protected. The road to hell is paved with good intentions." Jade tilted her head slightly. "You know what's behind that door? Weapons that can level cities. Technology that makes nuclear bombs look like children's toys. Power that humanity isn't ready to wield responsibly." "You can't protect it forever," Briggs interjected. "Eventually, someone will get through. 73 expeditions say otherwise." Jade's gaze never left Emma. "But you're different. You understand warfare as art, not just science. You could be dangerous if you chose to be." Emma lowered her weapon slightly, not surrendering but signaling willingness to talk. "Who trained you? Where did you learn to move like that?" "The same people who built this fortress. Their knowledge passed down through generations. Fighting styles refined over centuries. I am the culmination of 500 years of guardianship." "One person against armies," Emma said. "That's not sustainable. You must see that." Jade smiled, and this time Emma saw sadness in it. "I see many things. I see a world that would destroy itself with what lies behind that door. I see soldiers following orders without questioning why. I see a mercenary who's tired of killing but doesn't know how to stop." The words hit harder than Emma expected. She'd never voiced that feeling, never even fully acknowledged it to herself. But standing in this ancient chamber, facing a woman who dedicated her entire existence to protection rather than destruction, Emma felt something crack inside her carefully maintained armor. "The door stays closed," Jade continued. "You can fight me for it. You might even win through sheer numbers. But ask yourself what you're really fighting for. A paycheck? Orders from people who'll never face the consequences? Or something that actually matters?" Briggs stepped forward. "Reeves, step aside. We didn't come all this way to have a philosophical debate." Emma didn't move. "Colonel, she has a point. She's the enemy. Is she?" Emma turned to face Briggs. "Or are we the invaders here? We forced entry into a protected site. We ignored warnings. We continued after being offered a peaceful exit. Maybe we're the villains in this story." "You're under contract," Briggs reminded her, his voice cold. "Contracts can be broken." The tension ratcheted higher. Emma saw Foster and Calloway exchanging glances, uncertainty spreading through the team. Torres focused on treating Reyna, deliberately staying out of the confrontation. Jade watched it all with ancient eyes, waiting to see how the moment would resolve. And Bishop's equipment crackled to life. Static at first, then a voice. Not from their base. Someone else. "Team Alpha, this is Director Vale. Your contracted time is up. We're sending in Team Bravo with authorization to use any force necessary. Clear the objective or evacuate immediately." Emma's blood ran cold. She recognized that name. Director Vale, black market weapons dealer. War profiteer. Someone who'd sell nuclear weapons to terrorists if the price was right. "You didn't mention Vale was backing this operation," Emma said to Briggs. Her voice dangerously quiet. The colonel had the grace to look uncomfortable. That information was need to know. "I needed to know," Emma snapped. "I don't work for people like Vale. Ever." Jade's expression shifted from watchful to alert. "Who is Director Vale?" "Someone who'll kill everyone in this mountain to get what's behind that door," Emma replied. "Someone who'll use those weapons you're protecting to start wars and profit from the chaos." The chamber fell silent except for Reyna's labored breathing and the crackle of Bishop's equipment. Emma made her decision. She turned her weapon toward Briggs. "New plan, Colonel. We're leaving. All of us. And we're sealing this fortress so tight that Vale's team won't get past the entrance." "That's treason," Briggs said flatly. "That's sanity." Emma glanced at Jade. "You said you'd stop us if we continued. I'm offering an alternative. Let us help you protect this place. Not as enemies, as allies." Jade studied Emma for a long moment, reading truth in her eyes, weighing sincerity against years of broken promises from outsiders. Finally, she nodded once. "Then we have work to do, and very little time to do it." The alliance formed in seconds, born from necessity and mutual understanding. Jade moved to the center of the chamber, her demeanor shifting from guardian to tactician. Emma recognized the change immediately. This was a woman who'd planned for every contingency, including the possibility of fighting alongside former enemies. "Team Bravo will have better equipment than you," Jade said, addressing the group. "Director Vale doesn't hire amateurs. They'll breach the entrance within 2 hours, maybe less." Briggs stood rigid, his weapon still holstered, but his hand hovering near it. "You're all committing career suicide. Court-martial. Prison time. Dishonorable discharge. Better than living with blood money," Torres said quietly, not looking up from Reyna's splinted leg. "I joined the military to protect people, not to help arms dealers get richer." Foster nodded agreement. "I'm with Reeves. This feels right." Calloway scratched his jaw, considering. "My explosives could seal the entrance. Bury it so deep Vale's people would need months to excavate." "No," Jade said firmly. Explosives would destabilize the entire mountain structure. The fortress has fail-safes built into its foundation. Collapse one section incorrectly, and the whole thing comes down, including the weapons vault. Hammond looked up from his scanner. There has to be another way. Ancient fortresses always had multiple security protocols. There are, Jade confirmed. But most require time we don't have. However, there's one option. Dangerous, but possible. Emma moved closer. I'm listening. Jade walked to the metal door, placing her palm against its surface. Ancient mechanisms hummed, and the door slid open with a whisper of displaced air. Beyond lay a corridor that glowed with soft blue light, illuminating walls covered in crystalline structures that pulsed like living hearts. The fortress has a central control chamber, Jade explained. From there, I can activate the complete lockdown protocol. It will seal every entrance, reinforce every passage, and activate defense systems that have been dormant for centuries. What's the catch? Emma asked, knowing there had to be one. Once activated, the lockdown is permanent. No one gets in. No one gets out. Ever. The fortress becomes its own tomb. Silence fell over the group as the implications sank in. You'd be trapped, Emma said. Alone forever. Jade's expression remained calm. I've always known my duty might require ultimate sacrifice. Better one life than millions. That's not a solution, Emma protested. That's a death sentence. It's the only certainty. Jade met Emma's gaze. Unless you have a better idea. Emma's mind raced through scenarios, tactics, possibilities. Then something Hammond had said earlier clicked into place. The energy signature. You said the readings were off the scale. What if that's not just the weapons? What if it's a power source? Hammond's eyes widened. The fortress has been operational for 500 years. That would require incredible energy. If we could access that source, maybe redirect it. To do what? Briggs demanded, finally engaging despite his anger. Create an electromagnetic pulse, Emma said, the plan forming as she spoke. Concentrated and powerful enough to fry every piece of electronic equipment within a kilometer radius. Vale's team would be blind, weaponless, stranded. Jade considered this. The power core could theoretically generate such a pulse, but the discharge would be massive. Anyone inside the fortress during activation would be killed instantly by the energy release. Not if we evacuate first, Emma countered. We set it on a timer. Get everyone out, let it trigger. Vale's team gets hit while they're still approaching. By the time they recover and regroup, we've vanished. And the fortress? Jade asked. Damaged but standing. The weapons stay protected. You stay alive. Everyone wins except Vale. Torres finished securing Reyna's leg and stood. I like this plan better than the suicide option. There's still a problem, Jade said. The control chamber is 3 levels down. The passages between here and there are trapped extensively. I can navigate them, but guiding a group would take time we don't have. Emma made a decision that surprised even herself. Then I go with you. Just us, fast and light. The rest of the team gets Reyna to the surface and prepares for evacuation. Reeves. You can't be serious, Briggs said. I'm completely serious. Emma checked her equipment, already prioritizing what to carry and what to leave behind. Jade knows the way. I know tactics and improvisation. Together, we can move faster than any group. Foster stepped forward. We're supposed to be a team. We are, Emma assured him. That's why I'm trusting you to get everyone out safely. Calloway, you'll need to create a distraction at the entrance. Something to slow Vale's people down. Bishop, see if you can hack into their communications. Feed them false information. Hammond, take your scanner and analyze the mountain's exterior. Find weak points in their approach. The team exchanged glances, then began nodding acceptance. Emma had given them purpose, direction, a way to contribute without sacrificing themselves needlessly. Only Briggs remained resistant. This is still desertion. Betrayal of your contract and your country. Emma faced him squarely. My contract was with Vale, not my country. And Vale represents everything my country stands against. I'm not betraying anyone. I'm finally standing for something that matters. Briggs held her gaze for a long moment, then something in his expression shifted. The rigid military commander cracked, revealing a man who'd seen too much compromise, too many orders that turned his stomach. I can't come with you. I have a family, a career, obligations. I understand, Emma said simply, but I won't stop you either. Briggs turned to the team. Official record states we encountered unexpected resistance and were forced to retreat due to casualties. Reeves was separated during combat. Presumed lost. Everyone clear? The team murmured agreement, relief evident in their voices. Move out, Briggs ordered. Reyna needs medical attention. We have 90 minutes to clear the mountain before Vale's team arrives. Torres and Foster carefully lifted Reyna between them. Hammond packed his equipment. Bishop began coordinating the withdrawal. Calloway lingered, looking at Emma with something like admiration. You always were too good for the mercenary life, he said. Maybe you just needed the right cause. Emma smiled. Maybe I did. The team filed out, leaving Emma and Jade alone in the chamber. The two women studied each other, former adversaries now united by common purpose. You're taking a massive risk, Jade said. You don't know me. Don't know if you can trust me. I know enough, Emma replied. I know you've dedicated your life to protection instead of destruction. I know you are willing to die alone rather than let weapons fall into wrong hands. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. Jade smiled, genuine warmth breaking through her guardian's composure. Then let's go save the world. Or at least this small piece of it. They moved through the fortress with fluid synchronization, Jade leading while Emma covered their flanks. The passages twisted and descended, each turn revealing new wonders and new dangers. Ancient traps activated and deactivated at Jade's touch, pressure plates and tripwires that would have killed anyone else passing through. How long have you lived here? Emma asked as they navigated a corridor lined with razor-sharp pendulums. Since I was 7, Jade replied. The previous guardian, Shun Liu, found me in a village destroyed by warlords. I had nowhere else to go. He trained me, taught me everything. When he died 12 years ago, the responsibility passed to me. That's a lonely existence. Sometimes. But Xin Lu taught me that loneliness and solitude aren't the same thing. One is suffering. The other is peace. They reached a vertical shaft, narrow and deep. Jade produced climbing equipment from a hidden cache, and together they descended into darkness. Emma's muscles burned from exertion, but she pushed through, matching Jade's relentless pace. The control chamber exceeded every expectation. It was vast, circular, with walls that seemed to be made of solidified light. In the center stood a pillar of pure energy, contained within crystalline structures that hummed with barely restrained power. The heart of the fortress, Jade whispered, reverence in her voice. 500 years old and still functioning perfectly. Emma approached the nearest control panel, studying symbols that seemed to shift and change as she watched. Can you operate this? Yes, but programming the electromagnetic pulse will take time. Maybe 30 minutes. Then get started. I'll watch our backs. Jade moved to the pillar, her hands dancing over controls that responded to her touch. The chamber filled with harmonic tones, ancient machinery awakening after years of dormancy. Emma positioned herself at the chamber's entrance. Weapon ready, mind calculating angles and approaches. If Vale's team somehow got past Briggs and the others, if they navigated the traps, if they made it this far, she'd be the final barrier between them and the fortress's heart. 20 minutes passed. Jade worked with absolute focus, her movements precise and confident. The pillar's glow intensified, energy building toward critical mass dot. Then Emma heard it. Footsteps. Multiple people. Moving fast. "We have company," Emma called softly. "I need 5 more minutes," Jade replied, not looking up. "You've got 3. Work faster." Figures appeared in the passage beyond. 6 of them. Heavily armed. Professional. Vale's Team Bravo had arrived ahead of schedule. The lead operative, a woman with ice-blue eyes and military-grade augmentations, raised her weapon. "Step away from the controls. Director Vale is offering generous terms for cooperation." Emma didn't move. "Tell Vale the fortress is off limits. Permanently. Not your decision to make." "Actually," Emma said, smiling coldly, "it really is." The operative's finger tightened on the trigger. Emma dove left as gunfire erupted, rounds sparking off crystalline walls. She returned fire, aiming for equipment rather than people. Disabling shots. Professional courtesy between soldiers. But Team Bravo had no such restraint. They advanced aggressively, spreading out to establish crossfire. Emma fell back, using the chamber's architecture for cover, buying seconds that Jade desperately needed. 2 minutes, Jade called out. Emma's weapon clicked empty. She dropped it, drawing a blade instead, closing distance where firearms gave her opponents advantage. The nearest operative tried to track her movement, but Emma was faster, striking with precision that disarmed without killing. The operative with augmented eyes aimed at Jade, recognizing the real threat. Emma threw her blade, watched it embed in the woman's shoulder, spinning her aim wide. The shot missed Jade by centimeters. "Done," Jade shouted. 30 seconds until pulse activation. "Run!" Emma grabbed Jade's arm, and together they sprinted for the exit. Behind them, Team Bravo realized what was happening, their professional discipline cracking into panic. They tried to follow, tried to stop the countdown, tried to escape. The pulse detonated like a silent scream. Emma felt it wash over her, a wave of pure energy that made every nerve ending burn. Then darkness. Then nothing. She woke to morning light and pain. Her body ached everywhere, but nothing felt broken. She was lying on the plateau where their helicopter had landed days ago. Jade sat nearby, watching the sunrise. "We made it," Emma croaked. "Barely," Jade replied. "The pulse knocked us unconscious. I woke first, dragged you to the surface. Your team left emergency supplies and a satellite phone. They're safe. Vale's team retreated with fried equipment and no way to continue." Emma sat up slowly, looking at the mountain. The entrance was gone, sealed by rockfall. Whether natural or arranged by Jade, she couldn't tell. "What now?" Emma asked. "Now I find a new way to guard this place," Jade said. "The fortress still stands, the weapons still sleep, the duty continues. You shouldn't do it alone." Jade looked at her, surprise evident. "You'd stay? Give up your life to help protect a place you discovered yesterday?" "I've spent 15 years as a mercenary," Emma said. "Fighting for money, for contracts, for people who didn't deserve loyalty. Maybe it's time I fought for something that actually matters. Something worth protecting." Jade smiled, extending her hand. "Then welcome, partner. We have a lot of work ahead of us." Emma took her hand, feeling something subtle in her chest. Purpose. Direction. Peace dot in the distance. Helicopter rotors announced approaching evacuation. Emma's team, fulfilling their promise. But she wasn't leaving. For the first time in her life, Emma Reeves had found where she belonged. The fortress was silent below them, Its secrets safe, its weapons sleeping, its guardians watching. One raised by ancient duty, one transformed by choice. Together, they would ensure the obsidian fortress remained legend rather than tragedy. Some battles weren't won by firepower. Some victories weren't measured in territory gained. Some warriors found their purpose not in destruction, but in protection. Emma Reeves had finally come home. The end